Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. We are back from our trip. We actually got back not yesterday but the day before. We got home that night, and yesterday we had Bible study. I had women's Bible study. We had co-op all afternoon, so we were gone pretty much all day yesterday. So today I have a lot of stuff to get done. We also are having some guests over to our house this evening for dinner. I'm watching a squirrel jump across the yard with something in his mouth. So I came home with a ton of food. I went to the food bank while I was in Colorado. I don't have a video for that, but I do have all of these pears, and these actually came from Austin's aunt. She's got a pear tree. And then I've also got, let me show you, I had to take these outside because the fruit flies are out of control in this house, and I've got some traps set for them, but I decided maybe the best way to get rid of some of them was just to bring the fruit outside. So from that food bank haul, we also brought home a whole bag of plums. These are nice big dark plums. I've got a whole box of apples, also came from my husband's aunt. And then from the food bank, we've got a whole box of peaches here. So the fruit flies were in love with these peaches. And there's a few in here that are probably not good, and that's why they love them so much. But we're not exactly sure where all those fruit flies came from. I don't know if they were on some of the food my husband brought home from our Sam's Club stuff we usually get, if they came off of the trash. I don't know, but they are all over the place in there. So we're trying hard to get rid of them, as they're super annoying. But today I'm working on preserving some of this fruit. I also have to go downstairs and scrape one of our freezers. For some reason the door of the freezer is not shutting all the way, so it keeps totally frosting up inside of there. So I need to go and clean it out and get it scraped clean so that I can fit my food in there. But I'm also going to turn these pears into pear sauce. The boys are having breakfast. Crispin just got back from a basketball practice. He's gonna play basketball. You're eating ramen for breakfast.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna turn all these pears into pear sauce in my crock pot, and then work on getting the rest of the food, the rest of that fruit taken care of. I'll probably can it if I possibly can. It may not get done today, but tomorrow for sure. So. So I am now down in my basement. I'm gonna work on getting this freezer all defrosted. As you can see, it's just completely covered in ice and frost. The door got left open up on the top, and it just caused everything to defrost and melt and build up a whole bunch of like condensation that froze inside the freezer. So first thing I did was start emptying out everything I could get out of there, taking the big chunks of ice out and putting them in this bucket. I took a few bucketfuls of frost and ice over to the sink and dumped it out in there so that it didn't make such a huge mess all over the floor. I did line the floor with a bunch of bathroom towels just to soak up a lot of the liquid, because otherwise it would have just been a gigantic mess. But it took a little while, and I finally ended up getting it all defrosted and cleaned out, and then we loaded everything back in and plugged it in and closed the door, and now it's wonderful. I can see everything that's in here, and
it's working really well.
I am finished with cleaning out this freezer. I thought I would do a real quick freezer tour for you before I close it up and plug it back in. On this top shelf I put vegetables. There's a lot of zucchini, onions, squash, pumpkin, corn, all on here. This has got my baking stuff and some Eggos and some pulled pork. It's got like pancake mix and flour, pulled pork, some Oreo crumbs, and the waffles. The next row down is all meat. There's beef and deer and pork all on this shelf. And then, just a minute, down here I have a bunch of rice and then all of our bread products. I put the bagels down there and the French bread and stuff, and then this is a meal that I found that I'm gonna thaw out one of these days and eat that. The bottom has 2 things of milk. All of my chicken stock is down here, along with a turkey and a ham down there. And then on the door, this is some lard that I kept with me. I want to render it one of these days, so that's an upcoming project. And then I've got a bunch of almonds, some almond flour, some cranberries. This is all sausage. There's Italian, breakfast, and German sausage. This is a heart of an animal. I don't know what kind of animal, I can't remember. Some ground pork, some pork chops, and then some cheese. And then I'm leaving this top shelf empty for now to see what this does with defrosting and make sure the door is going to shut all the way. But that is my finished project. It took a lot. I've got a big mess here. I got to get cleaned up with all these towels soaking up water, but we're done. So hopefully this will work out a lot better. I can keep track of what's in here. Alright, for lunch today, Crispin is our cook. He's making mac and cheese and some hamburger. So we are going to have that for our lunch. I got some steaks out for dinner. We have some friends coming over. So we're going to grill steaks. And then my pear sauce is still cooking away. These are the pears I'm going to add into here once this cooks down a little bit, so I can use up all those pears. I'm trying to organize this shelving area to get some of this stuff off of the counter. I don't have a ton of counter space in here, and it's just a lot easier if I can get as much as I can off the counter. It gives me more room to cook. Okay, I'm making a fruit fly trap, and I thought I would show you how I do that. I've just got apple cider vinegar here, and I poured it into a small bowl. Sometimes I like to use like these mason jar lids, the plastic lids. They work really well. You just want something that's not super deep so that they are more likely to fly in there. And then you take some plastic wrap and lay over the top of it. And for this one, I'm actually going to just cut around it to make it fit a little bit better, so I don't have a bunch of plastic underneath it. You don't need to refill it. You don't need to refill it.
I know.
Okay.
I would do it right now.
Then I'm just gonna pull it tight and push it down. Make it nice and tight on the top. And then I like to take a really sharp knife and just cut some holes in it. They don't need to be huge, but they do need to be big enough that the flies will go down inside of there. And what happens is the fly lands on here, they can smell the vinegar, they go in the hole, and then they can't figure out how to get back out. So I'm gonna put this in our schoolroom. I just realized that in the trash can in there we had some apples and pears from over a week ago. The cores that people had eaten for a snack and thrown in there. So that's probably where all of our fruit flies came from. So I'm gonna put this in there and hopefully I can catch a lot of those. I clean the trash can out, and hopefully this will help get rid of some of those. So you had hot chocolate this morning. I just have water. I am now working on getting some dinner rolls ready for dinner tonight. With our guests coming over, I wanted to make these super yummy rolls. I haven't made them in a long time, but I fresh ground some flour and mixed them up. They were really good and very good for you with the fresh ground flour, and everybody liked them. It's one of our favorite things around here. While my roll dough was mixing in my mixer, I always mix it for about 8 minutes when I use fresh ground flour because it gives the gluten enough time to develop in the wheat. So while that was mixing up, I started cutting up some of these peaches that I got from the food bank. I'm going to use those to make a peach crisp for dessert. It turned out pretty well. The peaches have a really good smell to them, but their flavor is lacking a little bit. But everyone still enjoyed it, and it was good. No one complained anyway. In my peaches, I put some sugar and some cinnamon, and I also added some gluten-free flour so that if the peaches had much liquid in them, it would thicken up a little bit. And then for my topping, I used gluten-free flour, some oatmeal, some brown sugar, and some melted butter. And I just mixed that together and squished it on top of my peaches. Then I stuck that in the oven and I started working on my rolls. I was just shaping them. I had let the dough sit and raise for about 40 minutes probably until it was double in size. The dough was very soft, so I just shaped the rolls and then I had them sit out on the counter for another 20 to 30 minutes until they were double in size, and then I baked them at 350 for about 20 minutes. Alright, we are getting ready to get the rest of our dinner cooked. My husband's gonna grill these steaks up here in a few minutes. I've also got some okra that I'm gonna fry up in this pan. And then our rolls are gonna be going in the oven very soon. I also have some of that pear sauce is all done. Austin just blended it all up for me. Looks and smells really good, so whoa. So we're gonna have that along with our dinner, and then I've got some peach crisp in the oven for dessert. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'm sure you would love this one, so make sure you go check it out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.